feel from this training? Okay, so let's go ahead and kick this off. So tonight I am so excited to be doing this Zoom with some of the most incredible powerhouse leaders in this company talking about distributor enrollments. Now you can go on YouTube and find any sort of training on exactly how to enroll distributors. Now, if you're brand new on here, I really recommend going to watch a training talking exactly about how to enroll distributors as far as the logistics. Now we all know, for those of you that have been in the business for a little bit, we do TikTok, we do Reels, we do live posts every day, we go live. Like, those are how we're actually going to attract distributors. But tonight, what we really want to make sure that you are confident in by the time you get off this training in the next hour is that you know up here how to enroll distributors and here. So there are two sides to enrolling distributors. And I actually got this from Kelly Brown after having a conversation. But she was talking about how there's mechanical and there is emotional. Mechanical and emotional, two sides of enrolling distributors. Mechanical is the actual conversations that you're having, the actual voice messages you're sending, the scripts that you're using, like the logistics of what you're doing. And then you have the emotional side, which is all up here. It's your belief, it's your mindset, what you're speaking over your business, whether you believe you're going to be a good enough leader, and all the emotions that come along with it. And so I want to know, drop a 1 if you're really freaking excited about this, because I'm pumped. I know that most of y'all know how I run Zooms. I don't plan nothing. I'm like, I just like to talk and chat like we're in the living room. That's how I want this to feel. And so, like I said, make sure you've got this up on your story. You've tagged us in it. You've tagged your upline. That's the most important thing that you do every time you're on a training. It should be instinct. You post it. Make sure you're being respectful of our time as we're talking to you and that you're paying attention and your cameras are on. If you ain't doing nothing shady, okay? So let's go ahead and kick this off. So the first thing that we're gonna start talking about is we're gonna kind of do half and half. So we're gonna talk all things mechanical at first. So we're gonna talk about voice messages and scripts and all the things that we're going to do to actually enroll these distributors. And then the second half of the Zoom, we're going to talk about the emotional side, and we're going to close it out with fire and the boom and all the things. And so I'm going to go ahead and start this off. Now, this is going to be a lot of information, so please take notes. Like, you should not take your pen off the paper the whole time, because you're also 40% more likely to retain information when you write it down. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this off. So mechanical is the actual logistics of what you're doing and the conversations that you're having. Now, I was going to share my screen and I was going to show y'all some voice messages and I was going to show y'all scripts, but what I really want to do is I want you, by the end of this Zoom, to feel authentic in your conversations. I don't want you to have conversations like I do. The only reason that your upline ever gives you scripts is because it's a template. You have to learn how we have conversations before you start having your own. So how many of you, drop a 1 if you've ever got a script from your upline? They're like, this is how you explain what we do. And then you send screenshots. If you're brand new on here, first and foremost, the most important thing that you can learn is that your upline knows exactly what to say. And if they don't, they're going to ask their upline. So always, always, always send screenshots of every conversation that you have, okay? It's super important to make sure that you get like the gist of how we have conversations before you start making your own, okay? Because you ain't got to fix what's not broken, and what we use works. I still use the same script that my upline used on me. You guys, I went back a couple of days ago when I was planning this Zoom, and I scrolled all the way back to the very top of me and Courtney Vocal's messages, and literally I was like, wow, I use the same messages that she used on me. And so make sure that when you get these scripts and you start feeling comfortable with them, that you start adding in things that you would say, okay? If you don't say, hey babe, don't put hey babe in the script. If you don't say hey girly pop, don't put hey girly pop in the message, okay? Talk how you would talk. I love emojis. I'm like a big feelings gal. I'm like, hey girl, I love you so much. You should join my team. That's how I am, but maybe you aren't. And so I want you to take these scripts and eventually take out some words, add in what you would say, add in your story. So I'm going to drop, if somebody messaged me right now and said, hey girl, I want to join your team, can you give me information? I am going to send this message. Now, we all have different messages, so if your upline's already given you one, don't change it. I'm just kind of showing you what my script looks like. So this is what I asked. This is what Courtney asked me. This is what I ask every single person. I'm like, hey, are you familiar with what we do? If not, I'd love to explain it to you. 9 times out of 10, they say no. They've never heard of it. They're not familiar with it. They don't have a single clue. And so this is the message Courtney used on me, and it's the message that I've used on every single distributor I've ever enrolled. It basically explains what we do, but also it has my story in it. So it talks about how I joined the business, what it's done for me, a little in a synopsis of what it's done over the last 5 years. And so when I have this in my boards app for my scripts for my team, at the top it says add in your story. And so if you just got started and you're like, I don't have a story, why did you join? Hey, so I'm so excited. This sounds crazy, but I actually joined this business for just a couple $100s a month. I'm loving it so much. The community's so incredible. You don't have to say anything about things it's done for you. Talk about what it's going to do for you. What do you love about the business? Okay. And then the next message is every single time they're going to say $500 a month or $500 a week or whatever they say as far as how much money. And I break down how we make money. Now, we all have different messages for this, but they don't really care. Okay. You have to stay in control of the conversation. And always remember, any questions they ask you, they're just asking because they don't know what to ask. And so we always give information. And every single time you will end it in a question. You want to stay in control of the conversation and give them something to respond to. Don't ever just say, this is it. Because they're going to start asking questions and start drilling their minds for things. You don't want them to do that. You don't want them to start sitting here thinking, okay, what should I ask? I need to ask something, because then that's when they get lost, right? And they start asking questions and you're like, ooh, I don't know what to say. Stay in control, okay? And then the last message I send is they always say, okay, what does it entail to get started? Or how much does it cost? I've been having the same conversation for 5 years and it pretty much goes the same every daggone time. And so I send this message. I tell them it's $299 because that's how much it would be if they ordered products. Right now it's $99. I am not even telling people it's $49. If you want to do that, do it. But I'm going to tell you what, this is a super powerful thing that you need to take away from this training. The logistics of my conversation is I'm telling everybody it's $99 because do you understand the power in the fact that it's $99 to join your own business, you guys? If you went and opened a clothing boutique right now, you'd spend 10 grand just in inventory. Then if you wanted to open a storefront, you got business licenses, you've got products, you've got business cards, you've got this, you've got banners, you've got tags, you've got ridiculous amounts of money that you're going to be putting into a business. And so don't you ever for a second say that $99 is too expensive to start a business. I want you to be honest. Let's be real, okay? We're going to be real. Drop a 2 if you feel like you can't enroll distributors because you think it's too expensive. I'm not going to yell at you. Okay. Just be real. If you think that you're afraid every time you're like, ooh, I'm so afraid to tell them it's $99. Do you hear yourself? They could be spending 10 grand to start another business that they're not going to be able to make $750 in cash in their first month. You have got to walk around like you've got a freaking business that you could walk up to Kim Kardashian and say, do you want to join my team? That's how you should feel. That's how I feel every day, because I understand that this conversation is going to get them in the business because it's what works for me. I guarantee you, Ashley and Lindsay and Alden, their wording may be different, but it's pretty much the similar flow. This is what we do. This is how we make money. And this is how much it costs. They don't need any other details. Now, what I'm going to say is on the in-between. So I had a conversation with a distributor enrolled today, and she said, okay, I'm super hesitant because I'm afraid I'm going to fail. How many of you have heard objections before? It's too much money. I'm going to fail. I don't have experience. I don't have enough followers. You're going to get hit with an objection every time. Okay. And objections are normal because it's fear. That's all it is. And so what I do, and this goes for enrolling distributors, enrolling customers, training your team, anything you do in this business, relatability. Relatability will get you they'll get you in the system every single time and keep them around. If somebody says, I'm afraid of failure, the very first 3 words I'm going to say is, girl, I feel you, me too. Every time. That is how I get somebody in the business. And every single time I relate to them because they're like, oh, wait, she was afraid of that too. Okay, well, she got started. Even if I don't relate, I'm relating to them. Even if they're like, yeah, well, I work 7 jobs. I didn't work 7 jobs. Girl, I worked 7 jobs too. It was a real struggle. I'm like relating to them down to the exact thing because I want them to know that maybe I didn't go through that, but somebody on my team worked 7 jobs before they got started. I guarantee it. Somebody in this business has had a harder situation and they're doing it. And so I relate to every single person. So I wanted to start with conversations first because I think that's where everybody gets hung up because they're like, oh my gosh, what if I say the wrong thing? Write this down. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. I have had the most awful conversations in the past. When I first got started, I probably word vomited and gave them all this information that they didn't need. And they got started because they wanted this business and they were so broke that it didn't matter. I didn't even ask what products we sold before I got started. Did any of y'all do that? Drop a 3 if you like got started and you're like, wait, what do I even sell? I don't know. That was me. I was like, wait, actually, what am I promoting? I don't really know. I had 20 cents, y'all. I didn't care if I was promoting bags of chips. I needed money and it didn't matter. And so if you're out there and you're excited and they can feel your energy through a conversation, I want to ask you this. Do you feel my energy through this computer screen right now? I really hope you do, because I'm already sweating and we've been on here for 13 minutes. That's how I talk to my distributors, because whether I'm on fire in my own business, I know other people are killing it if I'm not, and everybody needs this business opportunity, every single person. And I feel even more convicted about that after 2020 happened and people didn't have a job. And I was like, okay, everybody needs a side hustle. If I've learned anything, that's what that means. And so it is all about your conversation that you're having. Follow the scripts until you get comfortable enough to start finessing it a little bit, coming up with your own things. But I'll tell you this, second tip, never answer a question that is not asked. Okay? Never answer a question that is not asked. So sometimes we get so, how many of you do this? You get super like excited and you're like, okay, I'm going to keep giving them information because I just really want them to join. And we start getting keyboard happy and we start sending all these extra messages and we go back and we're like, shoot, I shouldn't have said that. Okay, I'm just really excited. It's $99, but it's the best investment you'll ever make. And I remember it was the best decision I ever made. And I remember being nervous, but I went ahead and did it. And you just start flowing out all these things because you want them to join. It's desperation. Don't answer something that's not asked, okay? And when they do ask, I am answering it in like 10 words or less. Okay, well, how much is it to get started? I'll send the message, but let's say they ask a question and they're like, okay, well, what about, do we carry inventory? No, girl, we don't carry inventory. It's the best thing ever. That's it. I don't add any extra details because they don't need to know any extra details. I answer the question in 10 words or less. Keep that in mind. Okay, I don't know who wants to go next. I'm just going to call on one of you. I'm going to call on Ashley because you're right next to my head. But you can go ahead and just introduce yourself really quickly and go into your mechanics.
Okay, good. I was literally about to unmute myself, so that's perfect anyways, but I'm super excited to be on here tonight. My name is Ashley Pfluger. I'm a presidential diamond. I have been in this business for 6 years now. And guys, I'm so excited to talk to you about this tonight because this is something that has changed so much for me just over the past month. And like I said, I've been in this for 6 years now. So it's so easy whenever you start this, just like Shay was saying, to use the scripts that people give you or use the scripts that your upline gave you, especially if you're new, do that. But if you've been in this for over like a year or two and you've seen success, you have to at some point start voice messaging people. And that was like a gut check for me because someone told me that at the Winner's Circle that they were using voice messages. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But how many times have we heard that? Put a 1 in the chat if you've heard that. We all hear you use voice messages, but how many of you are literally implementing that in every single conversation that you're having with a potential distributor? I can tell you that I wasn't. And I could tell that I was responding to people so fast with the script. I didn't feel like myself. I was bored. I was using the boards or using the text replacement. I just really wasn't like excited about the business. I was like, oh, another distributor. And that's not the way that we should feel whenever we're having conversations with people. We have to show our passion when we're talking to people immediately. Whenever someone reaches out to me, I send them the same voice message or the same script. Are you familiar with network marketing? Exactly. I'm sure I got it from you, Cheyenne. And when they say yes or no, I'm like, no big deal. I had no idea what it was before I started either. And I send a quick voice message explaining what we do. It's basically the script, but I'm just sending it in a voice message. And I feel like it's made me more excited about the business. And I just feel like it makes me, excited about it. It's showing my passion. It's so much easier than once they actually join for me to like train them, because then they're sending me voice messages. It's so cute. They're like brand new. They don't even know what they're doing. And they're sending me voice messages back. And the number one thing that I caught in the chat when Cheyenne was talking about, do you believe that it's too expensive? Someone said, I don't believe it. But when I send how much it is to get started, they ignore me. Well, because you're using a script, because maybe you're not saying it in the way that you should be. Maybe you're not using a voice message. Sometimes whenever I'm using the voice message and someone responds or they don't answer me and they don't even open it, write this down. I say, did you hear me okay? I don't say, did you get my voice message? They got your voice message. They just didn't open it or they didn't want to respond to you. Or it wasn't the time for them to respond to you. You have to follow up with, did you hear me okay? And then they're going to reply yes or no. And so then you can come over those objections that you're talking to these people. I don't have enough money. I don't feel like I have enough followers, whatever their objection is, you can talk to them about that over a voice message. And what I've been doing like this past week is just having like putting these random time slots up on my Instagram. And I'm like, hey, I'm available at this time. I was reading something that said that you have to let people know when you're available. You can't ask someone when they're available. So I put up these time slots of these are the availabilities that I have to talk about the opportunity. And people were messaging me and I was following up with my potentials. I'm like, hey, hop on a Zoom really quick. Was it awkward for me to hop on a Zoom with someone I've never talked to? Sure. But if you've been in this business for a while, you should feel comfortable voice messaging. You should be comfortable picking up the phone. Guys, I joined this business over a phone call. I was at lunch with my aunt and called my cousin and joined over the phone. I didn't know what I was doing, but she was excited and I wanted to do it. So if you're just using the voice messages over and over again, or not the voice messages, the text replacements, and you're not feeling like you're getting the enrollments that you want, just start fresh tomorrow. That every conversation you have, even if you need to reach out to share, you need to reach out to your upline and say, how should I respond to this? Ask, and we'll help you with how to say it back to them, how to respond back to those people. But too many times we're not passionate about it, and we're not showing that, and we're just not even being like personal. Whenever someone reaches out to me and they send me a voice message, like literally, if I was just talking to someone, they're like, I'm just thinking of you. I hope you're having a great day. Like, I don't know why, but that is better to me. And that makes me like feel better about myself than someone just texting me. And so even I try to do that with my distributors that are coming in. When I'm driving, that's like my time to send my voice messages to my team. And they know that, like, hey, I love you. Like, today's gonna be a good day. Like, but I built that, and I did that with the voice messages from the beginning. It's something that I've always done, having conversations with people, but I stepped away from it for a while. For a few years, I stepped away from it, and my enrollments weren't where they wanted it to be. So everything that each of these ladies are going to talk about, I want you to write every single one down. So me, I'm talking about voice messages. Each person's going to talk about something different. But when you're done with this, you're going to write down why your enrollments aren't where you want it to be. And you're going to go back. Am I sending voice messages? Do I believe in myself? Am I, being personal with those people? And that is every single step that we're telling you guys. And we're telling it to you so that you can utilize it, but don't just say, oh, I'm going to start doing voice messages and then step away from it. I was even talking to Alden. She was like, she signed a distributor after I was like, voice messenger, like go send her a voice message. She started following up with people that way. Like, it makes a difference, but you actually have to utilize it. So that's what I got.
I love that. And I think too, the biggest thing to take out of that, you guys, is people miss connection. Okay. It's so hard with us all being over social media and having all these conversations and not feeling like we're actually talking to a real person. Right. And so send a voice message, get comfortable in that conversation, and understand that when you're in the control of that conversation and you're over here giving them the information, they want what you have. And so if you're excited about it, it honestly doesn't even really matter what you say, because they just want to be a part of what you're a part of. So Lindsay, girl, you are good to go.
Hey, okay, so I know in our chat I was like, I'll do whatever mechanical, so I didn't want to take someone else's away before, but yeah, I'm down with doing seal the deal or enrolling for 99, so just let me know. Okay, so yeah, let's go with seal the deal. So I'm Lindsay Volker. I'm Presidential Diamond. I've been in the company for 4.5 years now, I think. And honestly, I kind of started off like super slow. So if you're sitting there and you're like, I haven't signed a distributor, or I've signed one and they didn't work, trust me, time really fixes all of this. You're going to get more comfortable in your daily work, everything you do. I would say sealing the deal, the huge thing is you have to have a list. You have to have a list somewhere. You have to have your potential distributors. So you need to make sure that you're in enough conversations. When I first started, I was comfortable on Facebook. I sent a lot of messages. I posted, a lot to my Facebook, probably more than I am needing to do now, just because I've always done the work harder. Smarter, not harder. And so for me, I know that I can put up a couple good TikToks, something's going to blow up, and that's going to give me my potential list. But I have that saved in my phone. If I feel like I've had a good conversation with someone, I'm writing their name as PDT, and then the next month that I'll potentially follow up with them. And so just really getting comfortable at having the list. And like I said, it's just going to take, and we'll go into this on the emotional side, but just like the belief and putting yourself out there to have these conversations. So for sealing the deal, it's so funny because like we said, all of our messages are basically the same. And the thing is if somebody, exactly, if they're like, gosh, this girl's so excited, like, I'm just going to do that because I'm willing to take a risk and change my life too. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. We'll take that one to the grave and they'll come around. The thing is too, is you have to make sure you know your market. Are you in a really broke market? Maybe that's a season of your life that you're going to have to start, okay, this is what I want. Like there's some months where I'm like, oh my gosh, like where did I add from? And I think a lot of us can get stuck in bad markets because with our host to post, we're getting people who need money, who want the giveaways versus, okay, let me find people who are really hardworking that are going to work this business really good. And so just switching all of those for sealing the deal. Exactly. You know, I do my script. You can have your boards. I know a lot of people, there was a season I would send myself voice messages on my Facebook as if I was going to send those to potential. And then you can just forward them. Like in the moment, if you get like hot and sweaty and you're like, I don't know what to say next, or you're driving in the car, you can just forward that. If you don't have an iPhone, you can save them in like the recordings of your phone and then send it that way as well. But, you know, sealing the deal just comes down to belief. And the thing is there's going to be months where you sign one distributor and there could be a month where you're signing 30 plus. And so just making sure that you have your, you know, your cookies in a row or whatever they call it, just having that available so that you can have access to it. And even if you might be like, oh, I'm nervous, or like you're having a bad day, you still have your script so good that you can fake it a little bit. Like for me, when I sign up someone, I'm like, oh, I have to make sure I send them a voice message because it's 2021. People will sign up with a complete stranger and you don't even have to talk to them. But for me, I want them to know that like, hey, we have this connection. I do want to start growing that relationship. So those are probably just a couple. It's going to go into the enrolling $99 too. So I don't know if someone else is going to take that away, or if you need me to do that too, just let me know.
Well, I wanted to ask you this. So I think something that people get really hung up on is like in sealing the deal is they want to seal the deal the moment they have the conversation. They're like, okay, this person reached out to me. They're so excited. They must want to get started right now. And we get our hopes up and our expectations so high, and then they don't enroll. And all of a sudden we're defeated and we stop having the conversations because we are mad that the people didn't enroll. And I literally had this conversation with 3 of my distributors today. And I was like, okay, we need to address this. And I feel like you're a perfect person for it. So coming down to that conversation of understanding that you're going to talk to these people for a little while. I want y'all actually, let's have a little visual. I ask this in our new distributor trainings every single week, but I want y'all to tell me how long you watched before you joined. We got a week, 2 days, a whole year, Lindsay, 6 months, 0 seconds, 4 years for Ashley, 4 months, 6 months, a year, 18 months, 1 year, 3 years, over a year. Now look at that, you guys. Everybody's looking at the chat. Look at that as if it's a timeline of your own business. 2 days from now, you'll get Arlie. 4 months from now, you'll get Priscilla. 4 years from now, you'll get Jamie. 3 days from now, you'll get Victoria. 6 months from now, you'll get Margaret. You see how that works? Everyone's not on your time. You have to understand that. You have to keep sharing and keep talking and keep following up before people get started with you. So what would you say about that in that sealing the deal conversation?
Yes, absolutely. Well, if we know like the most famous story, Cammie didn't sign a distributor for 6 months and she was, her dad owns the business, and she could have walked away and just been like, you know what? Black Diamond isn't for me, but she did it. And so the thing is I cannot tell you how many people, when I even just like announced my 1 year anniversary with It Works, that they were in my inbox and like, okay, I'm going to get started with you. I think the hardest thing about potentially wanting to, you know, grow your team or recruit or however you like to word it is people are watching you to make sure you don't quit. Because do you want to join that person who just is on super fire, got excited, started the business, and you're going to join her within her first week and maybe she walks away? And so the thing is that sometimes it just takes time, but you can find those rock stars the next day after you join the business, a week later, a month later. And so exactly, just have your list and be patient and have that follow-up list, because they might be continuing to watch your story. And when you reach out to them because you're hyped up after, like, say, conference, when that's going to be a thing, or, you know, after your team retreat or whatever you're doing, you just got coffee with a friend you made in the business and you're like, hey, you know, I think we should do this together. It's going to be so much fun. That is when the turnaround will happen, and then they're going to be interested. But it does take, like I said, it took me almost a year to get started, and I was on the website 3 times. My biggest regret was that I didn't do a year sooner. And that's what I tell, a lot of people, but a lot of this is you're going to just have to wait it out for a second and get that story. And then all the excitement will just continue to follow. People aren't going to join you right away, and that's okay. Just keep going.
Yep. And I think too, guys, you have to understand that when you're not enrolling, a lot of times what we want to do is recluse, right? We want to, I'm so frustrated, I'm so angry, I'm not enrolling, and our numbers go down. We stop putting in the numbers because we feel defeated, when that's doing the direct opposite. That's making your situation worse. How many of y'all do that? We stop enrolling customers and distributors, and we get so in our head that the numbers game goes down. But you have to understand, this business is all about the numbers. How many times are you posting? How many people are you getting this opportunity to every day? How many people are you reaching out to? How many hosted posts are you doing? Doing less isn't going to equal more. And that's the headspace you must get out of when it comes to enrolling distributors. Is the more conversations, the more people you're going to enroll. The more times that you're consistent, the more times you're going to consistently enroll. The more hosted posts you get up, the more hosted post distributors you're going to enroll. That's how that works. And so keep that in mind, that when you feel defeated, just dig in a little bit more instead of pulling yourself back out. I know it's frustrating following up with people 150 times and they don't respond, but they would have blocked you by now if they weren't interested. Keep that in mind, okay? I follow up with people and follow up. And so I went back and counted with the last people, because we all have people that just reach out to us randomly and get started or whatever. But I looked at my list of my Fast Start qualification when I have all my distributors written down. I went back and looked at the ones that I know that I followed up for a really long time. And I enrolled a girl 4 days ago that I sent 37 follow-ups to. 37. That's basically 37 weeks of following up with her. She didn't block me. She never responded to me until she said, okay, girl, I'm ready to get started. 37. The one before that was 34 follow-ups before she got started. I also have been in the business for 5 years. So 2 weeks ago, I enrolled a distributor that I messaged the first week that I joined It Works. 5 years, okay? That is a 5-year dream delay for me. 5 years of me saying, this girl's going to join, this girl's going to join. I'm going to show up for the people that are going to join me tomorrow, the next day, next week, 6 months from now. Don't give up on the people that are watching you, because you have to understand that you waited 6 months to join your upline, but you're frustrated that this person that messaged you yesterday didn't get started the hour they talked to you. Yeah, I just hit somebody with that one. That one hurts, doesn't it? You have to be patient. You have to understand. Guys, have you ever heard of a bamboo tree? You plant the bamboo tree, it's going to grow for 6 years under the ground, and then it comes up and grows up in 6 months or something. It's probably totally wrong, but it's crazy how long it stays underground before it comes up. Stop expecting the fruits before the work. You got to do the work, and the harvest will come. Okay. All right, Alden, go girlfriend.
No, it's funny that y'all are talking about following up and enrolling people. I just went and looked at this girl that I signed today's Sunday. I signed her Thursday night or Friday after Ashley did an opportunity call, and I first started talking to her on December the 12th, 2020. So this is 6 months of conversations, y'all, and she's gone back and forth, and it was finally just the right time for her. And she was so nervous to start, y'all. She was sending me questions after she already had my website and stuff, and I kept voice messaging her and encouraging her, yes, you can do this, this is fine, you can do this. Oh yeah, and sorry y'all, I'm Alden. I am triple diamond. I just went triple in April. I've been in the business for 2.5 years now, and I have not announced this to anybody but Ashley, but I actually just this week made the decision to quit my teaching job and do It Works full time. So yeah, I'm so excited, and it's crazy, and yeah, it's been a super emotional week. But y'all, I had the slowest start to this business that you could probably ever imagine. I joined with my friend Natalie after I watched her for 6 months. And I had just graduated college, and I finally was okay, well, I'm not teaching yet, because I graduated in December. And so I was I'm going to give it a shot. So I joined her in February. I did I think I worked maybe for 2 weeks, didn't get my shopping spree, didn't do any of that. And then finally, June rolled around, and I was okay, I'm going to do it. And I jumped in and I did stuff. And I just looked at my first paycheck the other day, y'all, and I made $90 in June. And I was okay, I can do this. It's great. And then I started my first year of teaching kindergarten 2 years ago now. And it put me on my butt. I was nope, can't do that. Don't have time for that. And then in that time frame, my husband and I got engaged then, and I started my grad school for my master's. So our wedding was coming up in May of 2020, and I was finally okay, we have to do this. I've seen it work for other people. We need this extra money. And so I got really serious about it in January of 2020, and I went really, really fast from like March to May of that year. I went like ruby, emerald, diamond super fast. Then I started my second year of teaching kindergarten COVID style. And again, it put me on my butt. It was really freaking hard. And so I lost rank, dropped super fast. And then finally December rolled around. I got switched actually from teaching in person to virtual. And it was one of the best things that ever could have happened for me because I had a little bit more time during the day to start working my business a little more. And I went super, super fast, y'all. Like I was emerald for the first time in like 4 months in December 31st. I somehow hit emerald. Don't even know how. I went double in January. I took my husband's account double in February. And then I went triple in April. And so it's just like, just don't give up. Like you never know what's going to happen. And like Ashley said it out loud for me the first time yesterday. Like I had not even thought about it, but a year of like fully working this business, I have finally like started making 5 figures a month. And it's life changing, y'all. Like I literally cannot believe it. And this may not even be about like what we're supposed to talk about, but it's just been what I've been so excited about and passionate about. And my numbers were low last month, y'all. Like in January, I finally started consistently signing 8 distributors a month. I signed 8 January, 8 February, 8 March, 8 April, and then I signed 15 in May. It was crazy. You want to know how many of those 15 I still have talking to me right now? 2. 2 of them. And that's totally fine because it is a numbers game. And then in June, I only enrolled 5 DTs and I was so mad at myself. But I got one of those DTs at like literally 11:30, like the third, whatever the last day of the month was then. And like she's working now too. So like you just never know when it's gonna be those people and how many conversations you're gonna have to take. Because one girl, the girl that I signed the night of the last night of June, I talked to her for 2 days and she was ready to sign up. This last girl that I just signed up my first DT of this month, I've talked to for 6 months. So you literally never know when your person's gonna come. So
I'm gonna stop
that's all
you
I got.
just a second. Just a second. Guys, did y'all just take that in? Emerald in December, triple diamond in April. Okay. And how long did it take you before you decided to go all in with this business from the moment you joined till the moment you started going real fast?
Like 11 months.
11 months, you guys. That just inspired the heck out of me because you are looking at your chart right now and not understanding why Sally Sue ain't doing nothing. She's all in, okay? Keep loving on her, keep giving vision, keep casting the vision for where you're going as a team, and keep enrolling and keep being consistent, getting your 8 distributors every single month. And who knows, maybe 4 months from now, you'll be triple diamond. You know, Charlie, a couple of girls on my team were here this weekend and I was like, do you understand how much power you have? It is your own business. You can enroll as many distributors, you can train as many distributors, you can promote as fast as you want, as slow as you want. It's all on you. And that's the coolest thing. And I love that so much. Okay, I just had to stop because I had to make sure y'all heard that. Triple diamond, 4 months from the time she started working, and 11 months into her business, she started taking it seriously. And now look at her. Okay, carry on.
I don't even know what else. I just had to like say all of that. But one of my girls who helped me go triple, she's on this Zoom, y'all, and I talked to Misty. Maybe we talked for an hour. I think she texted me from a host to post. She was like just ready to sign up. She did it. She went diamond in 78 days, y'all. She jumped right in and she freaking kills it. She just had her baby at the beginning of June and like she's freaking killing it. And so you literally never know like when somebody's gonna be there. I enrolled 2 girls at the beginning of May. They both just went ruby in June. They're 2 DTs away from being boxed for their emerald promotions. And they are in like a leg of this girl that I built to diamond. Like I built her there. And now I've got these 2 like rising rubies and emeralds under there. And I'm like, I'm finally starting to see some of that stuff about the people that you do enroll, like popping up, like finally, like our ambassador Lauren always says the cream rises to the top. So like you may sign somebody, yeah, Shay. So like you may sign somebody like in 6 months ago, and in a year from now, they're gonna pop up and explode your business. So you literally just you never know.
I love it.
That's all I got.
Is anybody inspired? I mean, guys, give me a 4 if you're like, all right, I'm inspired. This is great. I feel like I've got a little bit more confidence in conversations now. I can depend on my uplines to kind of give me the flow until I get comfortable with it. And just understanding like this is my headspace. And I always feel like it's hard for me to communicate what I'm trying to say when I say it. So I hope that y'all understand me. But It doesn't matter if you feel like you're not good at conversations or, this, and you start thinking of all these logistics when it comes to enrolling. Like we start really stressing ourselves out, right? Like we get lost in the conversations, we get lost in the posting. We're like, oh my gosh, this, that, and the other. Something I've always taken from Pam is, what do we do in this business? We enroll distributors and we enroll customers. That's it. That's all we do. Stop overcomplicating it. If somebody wants to join this business, they will join your team, okay? If they are meant to be on your team, they will be on your team. You just got to share it every dadgum day. You got to be excited about what you have your hands on. You have to be loud about this opportunity, and people will come to you. I promise you. The only reason that you're not enrolling is I could sit here and point out the missing puzzle piece. I'd love to sit down and talk to every single one of you and like point out the logistics of everything of like, okay, what is this? What is this missing? Are you posting? Are you this? But there's just one thing that some of you are missing that if you just flip that switch on, maybe it's being consistent. Ask yourself, when's the last time you've been consistent every day? There has not been a single day since March 2018 that I have not posted about this business. There hasn't been. Some of you post 4 times a month and you're like, ugh, nobody wants this business. I'm just so freaking frustrated. Sis, you don't even want this business, okay? Like you got to figure out what that missing piece is for you as to why you're not enrolling. And this is the Zoom that you're going to find that piece. And I hope that by the end, I'm going to ask you this question again, and you're going to tell me what was the missing piece that you established. Okay, so we're going to go into the second part, and that's belief, okay? So we're going to talk about it right now. I know that I want to address this because how many of you have been in the business for less than 1 year? Say me. If you've been in the business for less than a year, it's probably a lot of you. So less than a year. So a year into my business, I was a diamond maintaining executive. Okay. It wasn't that great. I had like a really high and a really low, and I was struggling really bad in my business. And I just felt like I sucked. Okay. Does anybody feel like they suck? You're like, I just feel like I suck at conversations. I suck at leadership. I suck at this. There's something wrong with me. Like I'm not where I want to be. I'm not enrolling the way that I want to be. Okay. You're going to feel like that. And it is so normal. I'm going to tell you why. Because you're stretching. You're growing, you're learning, you're figuring out the ins and outs of this business. This business is not just like a overnight thing. That you're in for the long haul. And I'm sure you've gathered that. It's like, sometimes you feel like you're getting beat up. Sometimes you feel like you're on fire. Sometimes you're struggling. Sometimes you're like, this is the best thing in the whole wide world. And it's just a constant roller coaster of emotions. And so when you're thinking about this business, it is all up here. 80% mindset, 20% work. If you can master this, you can master this, okay? I know that every day I'm not going to wake up and feel like $100. Every day I'm not going to feel like I'm ready to go, ready to have conversations. I'm on fire. I'm so excited to enroll distributors. Some days I want to throw my phone across the whole neighborhood and drive over it and never pick it up again. Like that's just how I feel. But what I do know is I know what I want. I know that I'm a leader and I have people depending on me every single day. I know that there are people out there that need this business more than I do. I know that there are people that were just like me 5 years ago with 20 cents in their bank account. These are the things that I sit here and think about when it comes to my mind. This is where it starts. When I go to enroll a distributor, I know what I have my hands on, okay? And you don't have, my first paycheck was $17 and I knew what I had my hands on. Why? Because I saw it work for other people, okay? Look at what it's doing for everyone else. Look at what it's doing for your leader. Look at what it's doing for your sideline. I want you to tell me what is your favorite part about this business. Drop it below. If you just got started, there is something you already love about the business, whether it's these Zoom trainings, whether it's the community, the friendship, the faith-driven company, Mark Pentecost, maybe it's Cami Pentecost. I don't know what it is. There's something as to why you're here. Other people want exactly what you love about this business. Share it. Share all of it. Share what you love. Share what you are excited about. Share where you're going. Share what you're doing. If you follow me on Instagram, you all know what I'm working on. Last month I was pushing hard to get my dad to triple and everyone was so excited and rallying with me and they don't even know what it is that I'm doing because every day I'm like, I'm getting my dad to triple. I'm so excited. I'm promoting so-and-so enrolled and they're helping me get my dad to triple. Like I was just always shouting it out. I was going for Pentecost Island. We find out tonight if I made it. Who made it in our company. It's freaking stressful, but I shouted it out every day because I believed that what I'm doing is going to get me there. I promise the work that you're doing will be blessed. And that's what I want you to leave this Zoom with tonight is knowing that if you talk to the people, you have the conversations, you're confident that you have your hands on something so incredible, that you have your hands on freaking gold, people are going to come to you and your work will be blessed. Lindsay agrees with that. Ashley agrees with that. Alden agrees with that, because we've been here. We've done the work. We've showed up. We've had the moments where I'm like, why is no one enrolling with me? Why are my enrollments down so bad? Why do I feel like this? Why am I struggling? Why am I not where I want to be? But we dug our heels in a little bit deeper, and we believed in ourselves. We knew where we were going, and we knew what we had our hands on. And so I want y'all to think about this. It doesn't matter whether this person has an objection. It doesn't matter whether you feel like these people aren't watching you. It doesn't matter if you feel like these people are going to tell you no. You've just got to talk to the people. You've got to have the conversations, and you've got to believe that this business is what everybody needs. And I believe that 110%. And so let's talk about how you're going to grow that mindset. When's the last time you opened a book? Tell me in the chat. When's the last time you opened a book? Let's be honest. Has it been a year? Was it yesterday? 6 months ago? Maybe never. Maybe you've never read a personal development book. Yesterday, today. Don't lie to me, y'all. Don't lie to me. Alden, did you just enroll a distributor? You just look real excited. A year ago, the other night, a week ago, a month ago. Listen, if you are not pouring into yourself, you have nothing to pour out. If you haven't opened a book, there's nothing that you have to give, because you're already pouring from an empty cup. If you fill yourself up with a book, with a podcast, with personal development, you're excited, you're on fire, those conversations are going to show that. Okay. I can tell when I need to open a book. I can tell when I need that personal development, because I feel like I'm just nothing. I've got nothing to give. And so start with opening a book. Start with filling your mind and your cup up, so that you're able to pour in those conversations and start believing in yourself, because that's how those enrollments are going to start flipping, and you're going to see that change. Okay, Ashley.
Okay, first of all, I love that you said about, like, when was the last time you read a book? Guys, podcasts are not going to do the job sometimes. Like, for me, I'm the kind of person, I listen to sermons and podcasts, but I knew that my heart needed a book. And so if you don't feel like you can afford a book, then you need to just go do it. Or I literally have 500 right over here that anybody can take from me at any time. But I really want you guys to just really think about, what I'm going to talk about is just removing those self-limiting beliefs. So I was reading this in a book that the average person has 500 negative thoughts a day. That's like disgusting. Like, that makes my stomach hurt. That is sad. And so I started thinking, there's no way. Like, there's no way that that is true, until I started thinking negative things. And every time I thought a negative thought, I thought, what number out of 500 is that for me today? And, the enemy literally loves it, guys, when you keep replaying those thoughts over and over again. So not only is the issue that the enemy's whispering in your ear every second, but you're literally believing those lies over and over and over again. So how many times have you been told, or you tell yourself that, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not tall enough, you're not confident enough, all the things, that normal thoughts that we all have. When you think those things, you're literally saying that what Jesus did 2,000 years ago wasn't enough. And so God literally created you to be who you are right here, right now, for this time in your life. And so when those times that the enemy is telling you that you can't be, smart enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're not successful enough, or tall enough, or whatever those stupid thoughts that we keep telling ourselves over and over again, like, you need to remind yourself that if the enemy says, I'm not smart enough, you need to say, I have the mind of Christ. Like, whenever you think, God, what are you doing in my life? I have plans to prosper you. It's not going to, you have to write those things down. I wrote this down today. I was reading it, and my pastor always says this: the shortest pencil is longer than the longest memory. So when you think something and someone says something that is inspiring to you, you need to write that down. So you're continuing to say those things over and over and over again in your head. And I literally have, this has been in my office. Well, I've changed my office. I change my office every month. I'm annoying. But I've had this since 2019. And right here, I have my affirmations. And I say these out loud to myself every single day. So I'm not saying I can't enroll distributors for $99. I'm saying that motivated distributors are attracted to my team. And I know my best days are in front of me and not behind me. But you have to figure out how and what are you going to do to believe the things that you know that you can do and that you can accomplish. You have to figure that out, and you have to read the book, and you got to do the things. And so I'm going to read this chapter that I read this morning, and I was literally crying. And guys, I go through this too. Sometimes we think, oh, she's been in for 6 years, or she's successful. It's almost harder when you're successful, because you're like, can I do it again? Can I get back there? Like, it's almost harder whenever you've actually done something in this to be like continuing to like renew yourself and renew your mind. And I read this and it said, you were destined, created, purposed, considered, needed, and born because there's a God in heaven who contemplated all the time and space, and he decided that he needed you right here, right now. He wants your gifts, your spunk, your personality, and your stubbornness that frustrates some people. It's surprisingly full of purpose. Similarly, your bossiness has a perfect place, and your clumsiness in that one area is just enough to keep you humble so that the whole plan can come together. In short, you weren't just born, you were chosen and crafted. He chose you before the formation of the world, whether you believe it or not. Why are we not believing why are we not understanding what we're called to be? Because the enemy has a hold of that, and it happens to every single person. And believe it or not, those negative thoughts, they're ruining your business. They're ruining your marriage. They're ruining your family. And I'll be damned if I put the baggage on my kids, because how I think about myself is how they're going to think of themselves. I don't want my kids to think that they're not pretty enough or educated enough or confident enough. So why do we allow ourselves to be that way? So those are the things that you can ask God to help you break those ingrained thought patterns that are already in your mind that you replay over and over and over again. And we have to ask God to let go of our toxic thinking. And you have to let go of the toxic thinking, and then you have empty hands and ready hearts to receive God's blessing. It's an intentional choice that you literally have to make every single day. And the Bible says, ask and you will receive. So if you're saying, God, give me distributors, I'm asking for teammates, but you're not saying, God, take away those negative thoughts, fill me with the positive thoughts, he's not going to give you those other things. So that's what I got.
Okay, well, I feel like this is like God divine from what I was already planning to share after you, Ashley. So I read this book the last week of June. It's called Don't Give the Enemy a Seat at Your Table by Louis Giglio. And I'm actually going to Atlanta this weekend with my husband and some of our friends. And the whole time that like we've been planning this trip for the last 2 months, I've been like, I want to go to Passion City Church. I want to go listen to Louis. And then I got this book a week ago, and I just know that like I need to be there on Sunday. So I'm super excited. So this book is all about literally don't give the enemy a seat at your table. So he says, I'm just going to read a little bit. It says, maybe one of the seeds planted in your mind is doubt. You don't know if any of this teaching is going to work for you. You've tried other ways to change before and none of them worked. So why should this? Or maybe some will change, or maybe some change will come, but it won't last because it's never lasted. Already the enemy has influenced your mind. Seeds can be scattered in your mind anytime, anywhere, and particularly when you read a book such as this. Before the truth can set you free, you need to see the lies that are holding you hostage. Ask the Holy Spirit to reveal to you which lies you're believing. Ask him to be specific. Are you having any of the following thoughts? I'll never change. I'll feel better if I sin. The gospel doesn't really work. I'm not worth much. No one loves me. No one believes in me. I deserve to be bitter. I deserve to be filled with rage. None of these thoughts come from God. Jesus Christ, the Good Shepherd of John 10 and Psalm 23, did not tell you that you're a failure. He doesn't prompt you to worry. He doesn't provoke you to fear. He provides clarity, not chaos. He doesn't stick your nose in the vomit of sin. He provides green pastures, not dry wastelands. So y'all, it's just like Ashley said, like if you're having those negative thoughts, he's already won. He's won your day. He's won the year. Like you have the power to look in the Bible for what Jesus says. And like something else that he wrote in here that really stuck out to me is like, if you're having those thoughts, think to yourself, those are not from God. They're not. Like they're from the enemy. But the first reason that I grabbed this book to share is because he wrote, this is like the second chapter, and it's what really stuck out to me because the month that I went triple, I had a really big mindset battle, and I didn't think that it was going to happen. And so another book that I read that really helped me that month was called Get Out of Your Head by Jenny Allen. I have it right here too. And hers is all about like capturing those negative thoughts. But this one really stood out to me, and it's I don't know how to say the name of this book of the Bible, Habakkuk, I don't know, 3:17-18. And it says, even though the fig trees have no fruit and no grapes grow on the vines, even though the olive crop fails and the field produce no grain, even though the sheep all die and the cattle stalls are empty, I will still be joyful and glad because the Lord God is my Savior. The last two lines indicate huge faith. And did you notice the two phrases repeated 3 times in his prayer? Even though ... I will. He basically said, even though there's no harvest, and even though crops fail, and even though the fields are just desolate, and even though the stalls of provision are empty, I will still be joyful and glad because the Lord God is my Savior. I have not lost my faith. In fact, my faith is even greater. So I'm gonna say, get your personal development books, and not even that, because one reason that I really liked this book is in the like very first pages, Louis Giglio is like, this is not a self-help book. This is teaching you, this is from the gospel, and this is what God teaches you to do with your mind. So that's what I had to share. That's what I was excited about.
Lindsay, do you have anything to share on belief?
Yeah. So, like the mindset behind enrolling, this was kind of a huge thing for me. So I loved how she shared her story, like triple in 4 months. That's insane. I think sometimes, but the thing is she had been in the business for a long time. Or not that long, but she wasn't doing what she was capable of doing. And she admitted that. And so that's a huge thing because a lot of us, I think, are willing to walk away before we're willing to put in like that grunt work. And I remember 2000, I think it was 2018, the year I went presidential, I started, like my highest rank was Ruby. I started as an executive. And I remember being so excited because I was #1 enroller, DT enroller, and that entire year for Alyssa, her downline. And I'm like, little old me, I was executive. But the thing is we know when we have that chart out, the distributors we need to get to hit our goal. We know the work that we have to put in and do all of that. And exactly like Ashley said too, sometimes being in the business this long, it's like, whoa, can we still enroll 20 to 30 distributors every single month? It can start, forcing your head somewhere else too. And so mindset behind enrollments are so huge. I can tell you this, if I wake up one month, first of the month, and I'm like, I don't really want to enroll this month. I don't really want to train. I will maybe sign 1 or 2 people that just naturally come to me. Sometimes it's a little bit more because my follow-ups have been better, but I had a great January. February, March, I was going through a little seasonal depression and I'm like, I don't feel good doing this second. Well, April rolled around and I'm like, this is garbage. I know what I need to do to keep putting my feet forward. And I signed like 24 distributors when I was trying to complete my steps to success because I've not once ever not completed my steps, except that was the first time. And it was because it was here and it was my heart. And I wasn't willing to like fix it right away. I wanted to sit on it for a long time. And that was just how it wasn't like that last month because I was working really hard, but I got that burnout. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just signed like 25 people. Can I do this again? And I took like a pause. I had signed 2 distributors from, the beginning of June until the last week of June. I was like, ooh, I need to get more. I need to get more in. I want to have more seeds planted. And in 3 days, y'all, I signed like 15 distributors again. And so the wording works. It all works. It just has to be here. And if you're not willing to have like this right, that's where it gets difficult. But those are simple, quick changes, whether it's reaching out to your enroller and telling them, hey, what's going on? It's doing the work. And then it's just, having those steps in place so that you can feel strong and confident about bringing people into the business.
Amen. And I want to share this to you as well, you guys. So, when it comes to distributors that you are talking to or distributors that you've enrolled, okay, let's go through this scenario. When you have a distributor quit, keep going. When you have somebody tell you no, keep going. When you have somebody that ignores your messages 1,200 times, keep going. Keep going for you. Keep going for the team that you have. Keep going for the potentials that are watching you. Keep going for the people that are not liking your post, but they're looking and reading every single thing that you do. Keep going for the dreams that you have. Keep going for the goals that you have. Stop getting stuck at every single speed bump that you hit, thinking that it's going to throw you off your course. Because if you don't have that belief, every speed bump that comes along is going to take you out. I tell this analogy probably every single Zoom that I've ever done. And my team is probably like, I'm going to karate chop you for saying this again. But it's like, guys, if you know a speed bump's coming and you see it, what do? You slow down and you go over it gracefully and it doesn't bother you. But if you don't expect that speed bump to come, it's going to take you out every time. You're going to slam into it. Your wheels are going to go flying. It's going to knock the breath out of you. And you're going to get hung up every time because, oh, so-and-so said no. And oh, so-and-so joined and quit. You know how many distributors that I have enrolled over the last 5 years that ghosted me and didn't even click the eSuite link to accept their dadgum tax forms? Okay. It's appalling. It's sad how many people give up the moment that they join. But you know what I do? I keep going. And I enroll a triple, and I enroll a double, and I enroll a diamond, and I enroll the next rock star because I keep praying for the people that are going to come into my business, that are going to stay, that are meant to be here. If they enroll and quit, they were not meant to be here. If they say no to you, they are not meant to be on your team. If they ignore 27 follow-ups, maybe it's the 28th, but you stopped following up and they went and joined Ashley's team because she followed up with them. You've got to keep going. At the end of this Zoom, that is what you should take from this, is that It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you keep going and you keep showing up, because so many people give up on themselves. Guys, there's 1% of you off this Zoom that will keep going to diamond and above. 1% of you. That's not a company problem. That's not a business issue. That's not a charting issue. That's not a product problem. That is because 1% of you will get off this and actually do the things that we told you. That's facts. That's across the board in the entire world. 1% of the world is successful because 1% of the people are willing to do what the 99% are not willing to do. And what does that come from? Belief. It comes from here. Some of you are going to get stuck with the fact that you don't think that you can do it. You're right. Whatever you say is what will happen. If you think that you can do it and you're going to go out there and say, you know what, this person ignored me, but I'm going to go to the next conversation and the next one and the next one and the next one after that. And I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep fighting for this business because I know what I want. I know what I'm here to do. I am here to serve others. I'm here to get to my dreams and my goals. I'm here to live my best life. That's what I know. Is it hard? Yes. Otherwise, everybody would do it. Why do you think that literally less than like 0.0003% are ambassador diamond? Because I guarantee you that those 0.00033% are the only people that have been willing to keep going for that long. Some of you are giving up after 7 days of consistent effort and not seeing results. Yeah, if you feel like I'm talking about you, I'm talking about you, okay? If you feel like you've been posting for 7 days and you're like, why am I not seeing a harvest? Okay, yeah, we're human. We want immediate results. We all do. Every single one of us. We selfishly want to do work and see a harvest immediately, but you're going to have to plant and plant and plant and plant and plant. And sometimes the harvest is going to get taken out by a flood. And sometimes it's going to burn up. And sometimes you're going to feel like you're in a total drought. But it's like that image that we all see all the time of the two diggers digging for the diamonds, and the one at the top gets right there and turns around. That's 99% of you. 99% of you are going to get almost there and turn around. And 1% of you are going to keep going until you hit that whole gold mine and you find every diamond. And then you keep going and you're so hungry that you keep going. And then that's how the 2% diamonds happened on the diamond chart on the income disclosure statement. So I hope that you found that missing puzzle piece. And now I want you to tell me in the comments, what was the missing puzzle piece for you that you now are like, okay, it's me. I didn't post consistently. I haven't been talking to enough people. It's my belief. I haven't been, believing that I can enroll these distributors. Maybe it's, I'm so frustrated because everyone I enroll quits, or I feel like I'm not following up enough. Like, what is your missing piece? I want you to tell me, claim it in the comments. And now that's what you're going to be working on. That's what you're going to work on every single day until it becomes, muscle memory, to where you're like, all right, this was my problem. This is my issue. This is what I'm going to work on. I'm going to fix it. But guys, thank you so much for sharing on this. I feel like this was so freaking good. Now you understand the mechanical side of enrolling distributors and the emotional side. And when you get into those headspaces of, I'm not enrolling enough, let's pivot. Instead of stepping back and reclusing ourselves from the things that we should be doing, figure it out. Like, I remember, if y'all don't know this, last month, I was struggling so hard because I wanted to earn the island so bad. And I had enrolled 2 distributors up to the very end of the month, okay? 2 freaking distributors and like 4 customers. And it was like the 25th. And I was like, oh shoot, I have got to earn this island. I had 423 points and I needed to get like at least 700 to feel comfortable. 423 points on Monday. And by Thursday, I had 705 points. I enrolled like 38 customers. I enrolled 11 distributors because I flipped a switch and I said, you know what? I'm frustrated. I am mad at where I am. And sometimes that's the point you got to get in. You got to get shoved in the corner and it's like, oh crap, oh my gosh, like I need to figure this out. It's like your fight or flight. How many of y'all are in that right now? You're in your fight or flight and you're like, I got to figure this out right now. You can either check out, peace out, and let another month go by where you're frustrated with your business, or you can pivot. Everybody type pivot in the chat. You can figure out, is it my belief? Is it because I'm not talking to enough people? Is it because I'm not getting this business out to enough people? Is it because I'm not confident and excited about what I have my hands on? Is it because it's been a whole month since I opened a book? Is it because I'm following the scripts and not being my authentic self? Is it because I'm copy and pasting captions from my upline Lindsay and not typing my own? So people are expecting to join Lindsay, but they're joining me and I'm catfishing them. What is that missing puzzle piece for you guys? Find that missing puzzle piece and be the top 1%. I even got a sticky note for it, y'all. I got a sticky note for it because every day I make top 1% decisions. And I want you to do that. I want you to find what that missing puzzle piece is for you and fill it in, and don't look back, and figure out, what are you fighting for? And get out there and share this business with everybody, because everybody needs It Works in their life. And you and I both know that. So I'm going to stop this recording.